This week on Goofing Off,
Matt Reed takes on another episode of Pokegoofs.
Colin makes us battle it out with Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2.
Drew takes one last tour on Animanga.
All this and more on Goofing Off.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Goofing Off. I'm Becca Tyler.
And I'm Caleb Morgan.
Caleb, we really gotta talk about your hosting. It's not really up to Goofing Off standards.
Wait, like for real? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm an after hours guy, but I feel like I'm just as much of a goof lad. Like, Becca, I'll do anything to impress Drew. Like, for real, like anything.
Anything? Well, then go ahead and introduce the first segment. Go on.
Okay, up next is CatsCon.
Well, it's Katsucon, and yes, that is indeed up next. What's up, nerds? Goof is back for the third time at Katsucon. We have a lot of things planned for today. We have interviews lined up and a lot of exploring to do. So let's see what this con has to offer. Let's go. All right, and then now I'm here with, and then what you guys think?
My name's Jeff.
Jeff?
Sarah?
All right, Jeff and Sarah. So how long have you guys been at the con so far?
Oh, we've been here since Thursday.
Thursday? So what have you guys been doing in that amount of time?
Mostly cosplaying.
Cosplay? And how about you?
Oh yeah, same cosplay.
Do you guys cosplay a lot?
Yeah, I've been doing this for maybe 10 years now.
10 years? That's impressive. And sounds very expensive. How long have you been doing cosplay?
A little bit longer than him.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I was young, but I didn't get good until a little while ago.
And then, do you guys normally come here just for the cosplay, or do you guys come here to like buy things from the dealer's room or artist alley as well?
Usually the cosplay. We're actually from out of state, so this is more of just a have fun trip.
Where are you guys from?
Texas.
Wow. That is a very far drive. So how long have you guys been coming here?
This is our second time, so we went the year before last and now this year.
So who are you cosplaying as today? This looks very interesting.
I am a Galarian Zigzagoon. If you don't know, in the recent Pokemon games, the specific region it takes place in, they turned the Zigzagoon line into members of KISS, essentially. And so...
Hence the guitar.
Yes. Yes, I'm here to shred your faces off, like...
All right, guys, and then now I'm here with, and then what's your name?
I'm the cosplayer Pear Fairy, but most people might know me as Sage.
Sage, all right. So I've seen you here last year at Katsucon. What do you experience as a cosplay repair fairy at different cons like this?
Mostly seeing people who either had to deal with the Katsu Crunch, last minute cosplays that just didn't quite work out, or, just the worst thing happened on the worst possible time and they just happened to have the one thing that they didn't have. So it's just a lot of basically preparing for the worst eventuality.
So I see you have like a giant cart here. What are like the different things that you carry around with you to help people in these kind of situations?
Well, so mainly the things that I use most often are things like safety pins and carpet tape, which is double-sided super strong tape, basic glues like super glue. But, you know, in the cart I just have pretty much everything that over the years, you know, one person mentioned and I thought, oh, that might be good. Like, you know, nobody's asking me for baby powder, but I have that just in case. I have AA and AAA batteries, which don't come in often, don't get used very often, but when they do, they're very useful.
Do you just come to like KatsuCon, or how many other cons do you normally go to?
Well, I come to KatsuCon on my own. I'm staff at 2 other cons for doing this, Kineticon and MagFest. I'm trying to find more cons to go to. I'm thinking of going to Otakon this year, but, you know, just looking around, trying to find what cons might be in the DMV area.
What has been like kind of your favorite thing about KatsuCon so far?
KatsuCon's great because you have some of like the best cosplays just walking around. The quality is amazing.
I'm just seeing the effort that everyone makes and like the detail that goes into a lot of the costumes. Everyone brings their A game, and so you get to see a lot that you wouldn't necessarily see at a smaller convention.
Really the people, and like the ability to just like meet so many people. I compared KatsuCon specifically like the WrestleMania or Super Bowl of East Coast anime conventions.
So one final question. If you could live in one fantasy universe at all, what fantasy universe would you pick?
Oh. I'm gonna have to think about that. Make her go first.
All right.
No, that's not fair. I have no idea. Not this, because it's just sad.
Same.
I don't know, something fun like Pokemon, where I got a cute little animal companion.
There you go. There you go.
Pokemon is a good answer.
It's safe.
It is safe. We'll go with Pokemon as well.
Okay. What Pokemon would you guys want as like your little friend walking beside you all the time?
Bulbasaur. Yeah.
Slowpoke is my favorite. I literally have a Slowpoke Kigurumi in my room right now.
I'm torn between Pokemon and Saints Row. Pokemon because the individual creatures, and one of my favorite, Garbodor, I just think is like would come in so clutch for like gas and stuff, since its hands are literal gas nozzles. And Saints Row because it's just fun.
Probably Hunter x Hunter, because it's still about as average, so you could just live an average life if you wanted to, but it's still weird enough that you can do whatever you want.
Well, guys, that was our time at KatsuCon. We had a really fun time messing around and interviewing people. I hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride as well. And most importantly, thank you for taking the time to goof off with us. Well, that first host bit was rough. It's all about the pronunciation. Here, try this next one. It's Drew's.
Okay, here's Drew's talking about girls last. I don't know how to pronounce that last word.
Oh, come on. It's tour. Girls last tour.
Tour?
Tour.
Girls last.
Here's Drew up next with Girls Last Tour on Animanga.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Animanga. For this episode, I figured we'd stray away from the high school antics that Hyoka brought us and we would dive into something a little bigger. So today for Animanga, I'm going to talk about Girls Last Tour. I didn't initially watch Girls Last Tour when it aired in fall 2017, and that was probably my biggest mistake I've made. Well, maybe dropping Full Metal Alchemist to watch Ouran High School Host Club when I was 13 and not smart was a worse decision, but I digress. Anyway, Girls Last Tour centers around 2 girls, Chito and Yuri, as they move themselves through the ruins of civilization after some sort of apocalypse. Chito, mostly called Chi-chan, is the one who tends to use her head more often. She navigates and drives their little tank, which, fun fact, is actually a German Kettenkrad from World War II. Yuri, mostly called Yu, is a little more on the easygoing side. She helps Chi-chan whenever she's in a pinch, and also is able to use a rifle if they ever need to shoot hot water pipes to make a hot spring or, you know, stuff like that. The 2 girls slowly but surely get around in this destroyed world, in search of, well, whatever they can find. What I like about this series is that it doesn't ever show exactly what happened to cause this world to look like this. Usually, if a story takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting, the story tries its hardest to basically hold up a huge neon sign in front of your face saying, "Hey man, I'm post-apocalyptic." And that doesn't necessarily create a bad story, but I think with Girls' Last Tour, the mystery of everything that led up to the world becoming so industrial and snow-covered was one of the things that kept me interested. Another interesting thing about Girls' Last Tour is its pacing. Again, I really think this show turns the post-apocalyptic setting around by having such a relaxed pace. Girls' Last Tour is such a simple show that it's almost slice of life in concept. Like if Lucky Star were just Konata and Kagami, but they were stuck in an eternal winter just searching for food and doing whatever you do while doing that. I should say that the show isn't just all stumbling around either. Chi-chan and Yu find themselves uncovering ruins, artifacts, sometimes other people, or even a funny tube cat who survived the mystery apocalypse. However, there's never really an ongoing goal for Chi-chan and Yu. They just keep going and going, hoping that they'll find something that might help them find out anything. The show also has stunning art direction. Like Hyoko from last episode, this show is a very muted color palette and everything is very dark. Girls' Last Tour, like its manga source material, takes on a rather cartoony looking round design style for the characters. It's a nice look and they all look really cute, but the thing I enjoyed most about the show's art was the backgrounds and environments. The expansive environments and simply the scale of everything in this snow-covered industrial wasteland was astounding to look at, just like how it looks in the manga. One of this show's greatest aspects is that, for the most part, it feels like rather than lamenting the fact that their world is gone, Chi-chan and Yu are celebrating the mere fact that they have each other and that they're surviving. It's a beautiful thing to watch these two be able to keep going through this world, and at the same time, it's a little sad. This show really puts the apocalypse thing on the back burner, for the most part, of course, and puts Chi-chan and Yu's survival front and center. This show builds around the theme of these two girls' survival with its cinematography. So many shots of the girls close together or have them moving through a frame where every part of the background is completely motionless. It really helps the viewer feel the coldness and isolation that the girls feel, while also being able to show just how alive they are in this motionless world. But like I've stated before here, the show isn't necessarily a sad show. Yeah, things seem kind of bleak, but that doesn't mean Chi-chan and Yu can't have a good time. If I had to give the show a slogan, it would be, "It's not about arriving, it's all about the journey," or some sort of variation on that. Chi and Yu's adventure is something unlike any anime I've ever seen before. It's such an interesting take on the post-apocalypse setting and its many interesting and somewhat contrasting themes of isolation, while also celebrating life. That in turn made me feel contrasting feelings as well. Sometimes I'll be watching it and being happy and feeling good about Chi and Yu being able to be alive together, and bam, I think, wait, they're all alone. But then something cool happens and I keep going. My point though is that the show made me feel so many different emotions throughout. I truly think that the show is a work of art and that if you enjoy anime or not, you should at least give this one a shot. It's well worth your time. Girls' Last Tour is based on the 6-volume manga by Tsukumizu. It was animated in 2017 by Studio White Fox and was written by Kazuyuki Furuyasu and directed by Takaharu Ozaki. It's a really unique take on the post-apocalypse and something that I can wholeheartedly recommend to anyone looking for a quick but impactful watch that you'll never forget. And that's a wrap on another episode of Animanga. If you have anything you'd like me to take a look at, drive your little tank over to Twitter and tweet me at ZTV Goofing Off with that hashtag Animanga. Until next time, I'm Drew Brown, and I'll be back next time for something else.
Okay, Becca, teach me like everything you know about breaks.
Well, me and Drew always made really bad puns.
Oh, okay, like this, I gotta go get my brakes checked. We'll be right back.
Make me so proud.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
Hello and welcome to another episode of 300 Seconds of Science.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey there, Scienteers, and welcome to 30 Seconds of Science.
Hey science lovers, welcome back to another 300 Seconds of Science. Hi science lovers. What is up, fellow wanderers?
Watch 300 Seconds of Science on 45-1 and follow their social media accounts at ZTV 300 Seconds of Science.
Now go out, enjoy life, and stay curious.
You're watching ZTV.
All right, Becca, time for co-op. Charades on a budget, right? Ready?
Okay. So we've got a baseball bat. No, you're stabbing. A sword. A sword? Okay. Who holds a sword? A knight. Knight has a sword. Writing. You have a pencil. A pen. Pen. Knight. Pen. Paper. Knight. Pen. Paper. 2. Knights of Pen and Paper 2.
Nick?
Hi everybody, I'm Nick McFadden and this is Games on a Budget, the show where I review games with a price tag under $10 in hopes of providing you money-savvy gamers with a good investment. Today I'll be reviewing the game developed by Kaya Games and published by Paradox Interactive, Knights of Pen and Paper 2. In this pixelated RPG, you take control of your own adventuring party as you go on missions through the fictional world of Paperos. I loved this game as soon as I booted it up. Creating characters to populate your party with was so much fun. You not only get to choose the party's class and race, but their high school archetypes too. The starting archetypes were jock, cheerleader, surfer, rich kid, rocker, goth, lab rat, and hipster. This customization really added a unique and enjoyable flavor to the game, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. I was also blown away by the pixel art in this game. The art was very well done and made every single interaction an enjoyable one. Like I said, the pixel art and the character creation were both great, but what really sold me on this game was the combat. Normally, I'm not a fan of turn-based combat, but there's something about the way it was presented in this game that made me really enjoy it. During combat, in addition to worrying about your character's health, you also need to worry about their energy too. Effective energy management is key to this game. I would often have to choose between healing my teammate or dealing damage to the enemy. These types of choices made this game for me. The energy choices I made heavily depended on my party composition. Each class has a unique set of abilities. You can have up to 5 characters at once in your party. My favorite class by far was the Thief. There was something about getting that extra sneak attack damage that was just so satisfying. I also enjoyed having a Paladin due to their Smite ability, which was very effective at weakening enemies. What's nice about this game is you can take it at your own pace, especially early on. In the earlier stages of this game, your missions will basically be to slay a certain number of monsters and then return to your quest giver. You do not have to fight all the enemies at once though. You can break them up to groups and then fight as many or as little as you want. In addition to having the ability to split up monsters during certain fights, you also have the ability to revive your party if their characters go down for gold if you want to. The more you revive your character and the higher level your character is, the more gold it will cost. This allows players who want to play for story to have fun and not worry too much about the combat aspect of this game. Combat is often rewarded with items that can be used to further bolster your characters. There is also a fairly in-depth crafting system that can help your characters become better equipped to face the dangers of Paperos. Not only is the combat super fun and rewarding, but so are the missions. The dialogue in this game is so much fun to read. It's a very self-aware game and is not afraid to make fun of RPG tropes. For example, in one of the very first side missions, your little brother decides to join the world of Paperos, but they enter into a zone where enemies are too high level. The village elders will acknowledge this and send you exploring to that high level zone in order to help them out. In another mission, you are sent to fight a stone version of a monster you had already beaten. The game has dialogue built in to recognize that the game developers just got lazy and wanted to reskin something they had already made. Each mission has its own wacky flair, and 9 times out of 10, you'll enjoy it. Chance also makes this game a very enjoyable one. Every time you travel or camp, your players have to roll a number in between a certain range to succeed. One time I rolled a 20 while traveling and I found a magic bottle with a genie in it. I wished for magic, and then the genie proceeded to do a simple magic trick. It's these random chance encounters that make this game so much fun, and adds another layer to an already very solid game. This game has seemingly endless amounts of content for its $7.99 price tag on Steam. When it comes down to it, Knights of Pen and Paper 2 is an entertaining RPG adventure with enough fun missions to keep you immersed for hours on end. Do you have any suggestions for cheap games to review? If so, make sure you tweet at ZTV Goofing Off with the hashtag GoApp. Until next time, I'm Nick McFadden.
Okay, Caleb, your turn to create a break. What you got?
Cough drop.
We'll be right back.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
Hey, you piece of
Akron After Hours is a show on ZTV. It is a sketch comedy show that makes people laugh. Ha ha ha. It is a fun, light-hearted time, and everyone on the show loves it. Just look at the producer. He loves every second of being on Akron After Hours. Be sure to keep up to date on all of the laughs this semester.
You're watching ZTV.
This studios ain't big enough for the two of us.
Caleb, you use props from the prop closet. You really are a Goofing Off host. Is this because Colin is doing his episode of Face Off on Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2?
Yeah, that's why I did it. Here's Face Off up next.
Hey fellas, this is Colin here watching Face Off, where I take any two games that are vaguely connected and decide which one is superior. And for this episode, I'll be looking at two Rockstar games about two gunslingers who realize that living as an outlaw in the Wild West isn't what it's cracked up to be. That's right, the games I'll be comparing this time are Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. And both are such narrative masterpieces that admittedly, I'm gonna have to split a few hairs when deciding which Red Dead is truly the superior entry. Nevertheless, I will try my best. Red Dead Redemption's inception began with Rockstar's acquisition of the franchise and Angel Studios from Capcom, after which Rockstar San Diego was given the go-ahead by its parent company to finish what would ultimately become the first game in the franchise, Red Dead Revolver. Red Dead Redemption was released 6 years later as a sort of spiritual sequel that was set in the same universe but ultimately told its own story. That story being about a former outlaw named John Marston who tries to start over in life by starting a ranch before he is tasked and blackmailed by federal agents to kill former members of the gang he used to run with or risks never seeing his family again. Released in 2010, Red Dead Redemption was one of the most expansive and expensive games put on shelves, as Rockstar put their all into creating their love letter for old Western films, while also telling their story amongst the backdrop of a declining Old West. Like I said before, gone were the days when outlaws were basically given carte blanche to disregard any rules or laws to live life the way they please, as now the West was becoming industrialized, gentrified, and urbanized, which is made very clear at the start of the game when we see people of higher status migrating west, and in the third act when we see Blackwater, a fully realized city that obviously contrasts heavily with anyone's idea of what the Old West looked like. Nevertheless, the Old West isn't dead yet, as John Marston hunts down Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, and the former leader of the gang himself, Dutch Vanderland, while aiding a Mexican rebellion along the way, of course. I don't mince words when I say that Red Dead Redemption was the AAA Old Western sandbox that anyone could have asked for, and to set the bar for what Old Western games could achieve, a bar only Rockstar would reach about 8 years later. And aside from awkward mechanics regarding riding horses and shooting while on horseback, Red Dead Redemption had exceptional playability. The Western settings also really helped bring the game to life, as did the period appropriate wardrobes and rundown dirt towns that complete any Old Western setting. And even though Rockstar plays it tongue-in-cheek quite a bit in this game, they were also clearly telling a narrative to be taken seriously, almost similar to how GTA 4 took a dramatic turn in comparison to the previous games. But amidst all this drama is an Old West filled with the most insufferable yet colorful characters that test yours and your character's patience every step of the way. When you're not killing your old friends, you're helping the biggest idiots in the West in the hopes that they return the favor, whether it's helping a literal snake oil salesman con a bunch of people, or a self-absorbed Mexican rebel leader trying to seize power. You'll be doing favors for the worst people imaginable in order to gain an edge when hunting down your old buddies. But it's also because of this that it feels that John Marston lacks any real agency, because he'll do any odd job imaginable with little to no convincing despite more important matters being at hand. The only real choice John is given in the game is whether or not he wants to turn his bounties in dead or alive. That's not to say that John Marston isn't one of the most iconic video game protagonists ever, because that would just be ridiculous. Aside from his obvious Clint Eastwood-esque appeal, he's also an extremely easy character to get behind, with goals he chases so earnestly that it only makes the ending that much harder to swallow. John is also more verbose than a usual Clint Eastwood type, as he constantly chews out the people around him, including the federal law enforcement that essentially has his family in hostage. But the most endearing aspect of him is his earnest attempt to settle down and live an honest life after living it in the most dishonest way possible, and his ability to constantly grow and learn despite not knowing much about running a ranch. It's what makes it all the more tragic when he's not only thrown back into the gunslinger lifestyle, but he doesn't get to live to bear the fruit of his efforts after he's gunned down by the very men who force you to hunt down your former friends. Despite some visuals not aging well in the 9.5 years it's been out, the first Red Dead Redemption remains a must-play and a narrative masterpiece that represented a key shift in Rockstar's efforts to create dramatic storytelling. Everything from its Western aesthetic to its standout protagonist add to an experience that few games ever measure up to, again except for that sequel that came out 8 years later. In direct contrast to its predecessor, Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably the most technically impressive game ever coded. Everything from how sunlight dips into the trees, how clothes move in the wind, how realistic the night sky looks, how the vegetation almost looks photorealistic. I could go on, but Red Dead Redemption 2 successfully translates the natural world from how we perceive our physical realm into this game. It's the most realistic piece of media I've ever had the pleasure to experience, but sometimes it can be realistic to the point where it's tedious. Red Dead 2 certainly isn't for those who savor instant gratification. Instead of immediately bursting out into a sprint, your character gathers up natural momentum when attempting to run faster. When you run into anyone or anything while riding a horse, you will fall off. You have to hit one button to open a drawer, the same button to obtain the item inside the drawer, and the same button again to close the drawer. When heading into any fight, you only bring with you the stuff you actually have equipped, while the rest of your items stay on your horse. If you are from a far enough distance, you cannot whistle for your horse, and you'll be forced to travel on foot to your location until you are within an optimal proximity from your horse. Despite how annoying this all is, I'd be lying if it doesn't immerse you into the game a little bit more. And finding your hat when it falls off is an admittedly fun minigame, but Rockstar's adamant shift towards hyperrealism can sometimes be a major detriment to its gameplay. But it being a Red Dead 2 game, the narrative has to succeed above all else, and it does. You remember how you had to hunt down the former members of Dutch's gang in the first game? Well, now you're in Dutch's gang 12 years before the events of the first game, and you're playing as a new protagonist, Arthur Morgan, who is Dutch's right-hand man and an outlaw through and through. Dutch's mission in life is to build a truly free life outside the confines of the United States and the laws that come with it, but the slow decline of the Old West complicates things for Dutch. The civilization that Dutch detests so much is moving west, and federal law agencies are cracking down on gang activity, but nothing shakes Dutch's optimism, as his confidence and exemplary leadership is enough to get his gang out of any bind, until the end of course. Based off the events of the first game, you know immediately that all goodwill goes out the window at some point, and seeing Dutch's descent into his pathetic madness is engrossing despite the fact that you know it's coming. Putting Dutch's gang front and center in a prequel also serves as a great opportunity to get to know the people he killed in the first game, as well as quite a few more people who used to run with the gang, including Mr. John Marston himself. Dutch's gang is practically a family, and the campsite acts as a hub to interact with each and every one of them. The camps always feel super lively with everyone going about their daily routine and their interactions with each other. It's hard to measure up to John Marston as a protagonist, which was probably one of Rockstar's toughest tasks when making this game, but I think they nailed it with Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan has that same rough exterior as John Marston and a quick lip to go with it, but one thing that puts him above John is the fact that his character has agency. For a while, Arthur just does what he's told by Dutch and runs errands to maintain the upkeep of the gang. But during the climactic moments of Red Dead 2, Arthur himself makes the choices that pushes the game's narrative. And he has an even bigger character arc than John, as we see him transition from Dutch's right-hand man into an unlikely hero by the end. But unfortunately, just like John Marston, he meets a terrible end, made all the more tragic by his good deeds. Both Red Dead 1 and 2 serve as a definitive old western sandboxes that I'm sure no other studio will measure up to, and both have endearing protagonists and an engrossing narrative to match it, but the playability for both games remains vastly different. While the first Red Dead had streamlined controls and mechanics, the second Red Dead's focus on realism seriously hampers its playability. To put it simply, the first Red Dead is easier and more fun to play. The story of the first game also stays consistent in its quality, while the narrative quality of the second game takes an obvious dip after the shipwreck that leaves the gang stranded on some island. From there, every mission in the game is one shootout after another, and it seems like the game just abandons its methodical approach and variety as it races towards the finish. And for those two reasons, I have to give the win to the first Red Dead Redemption. While the second game has a better protagonist and graphics that puts any game to shame, the first Red Dead has better pacing, writing, and other intangibles that you can't compensate for with coding realistic ear cartilage. It's impossible to compare these two games without splitting any hairs, but the first Red Dead firmly gets the win here. Thanks for watching Face Off. Feel free to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Twitter at ZTV Goofing Off. See ya.
All right, Caleb, it's your big break. It's your time to shine.
My what?
Your big break.
It sure is a break. We'll be right back.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Lights Camera Akron. Happy Halloween everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Lights Camera Akron. Happy Thanksgiving everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Lights Camera Akron.
Hey guys, it's Kedley Stanley here, reporting for Lights Camera Akron.
Hello everyone, my name is Caleb Morgan, and I'm with Lights Camera Akron.
Hey LCA fans, this is Michael Macon with Lights Camera Akron.
Reporting from Quaker Square, I'm Naquan James with ZTV's Lights Camera Akron.
Thanks for watching Lights Camera Akron.
You're watching ZTV.
Mitchell Waltz, the Pokemon, was born October 2019, and less than a week ago, we lost him from Pokegroup.
Mitchell was the best of us. He was a glorious young lad, and it's just not fair.
He will be missed by all. He fought valiantly. He had such a big heart. I can't. Can you take it over?
Here's Pokegoofs. Pretty good acting there, Caleb. I think the bit works. Are you okay?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of Pokegoofs. I'm here joined by my friend once again,
Kyle Glockner.
Awesome. Good to be here.
Mitchell's dead.
Really had to start it on that, didn't you? All right, well.
Matt, I have been living my life for the past 2 weeks in deep, agonizing sorrow over this turn of events.
Well, you know what they say, the best way to deal with your pain is to not think about it. Let's go.
To replace it with something else.
Do you want to look at the other guy and see if it'd be better? Because I really don't want to mess around with...
Donald
I like Donald, but he's level 18.
Donald Fan,
see,
the thing with Donald Fan is, based on his moves, he basically just replaces Mitchell.
What's he got again?
Lantern? Lantern, I remember, had some... Yeah, he has Dragon Breath, Magical Leaf, and Bone Club.
Bone Club. Well, he's... Yeah.
What level was Eustace? Eustace might
Eustace
not be
is
a
25.
bad addition. Okay, so, there's... You got 2 jobs this episode, Matt Reed.
Yep.
One is to be at a gym, and the other is to be at a gym. Yeah, because, like I said, Sabrina's probably in, like, the 40s.
Look at Onyx, though.
He's like,
hello, Murphy. Please don't kill me.
trained me.
You sound like Grover. It's like Cookie Monster Onyx. See you later.
Oh no!
I'm not doing it.
Wait. Oh, you have to go to Articuno. We have Fly now.
What did you have before?
Hitmontop has Wonder Guard. But yeah, I've had entire Pokemon generations where I have not received or seen the frozen condition. I sometimes just forget it exists.
We froze somebody last game.
I remember that.
Last episode, I think. That was nice.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. We're back. Nothing happened.
Matt Reed just, was just having a funny moment. Could always Thunder Wave, too.
Hybrid Void.
Yeah. I really like Vaporeon's sprite in these games.
Meh. Looks pretty cool.
I really like the blues.
What does that do? Paralyze me?
It's speed. Harshly.
Oh no, I'm dead. He just killed me. Why do you keep doing this to us?
Season 2 of Pokegoofs is not going well.
Why? No!
Drew. Our boy. Drew. 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 Drew.
Why? Drew. Why? Why'd that happen? Since level 2. Man.
Drew. I'm gonna cry. Who will produce Goofing Off? Who will produce our team of Pokemon? No! No!
This game sucks. I'm leaving.
I don't blame you. You know, I thought we might be fine, and then I realized we're fighting Vaporeon, who is a special attacker. Why did this get so intense?
Man, I'm not back to back. I can't handle
You
this anymore.
swept Erica. Man. You, like, obliterated Erica.
I know, just...
True! He still has another Pokemon. Vaporeon gives a lot of XP, though. And it all goes to Murphy.
Yeah, we better level up. We deserve this.
I'm... a Pikachu. Alright, let's see what the other one is.
Not worth! Not worth! We should pick Tentacruel just because he's gonna be at any level more. And we're not getting a Thunderstone. They're very highly unlikely. If we do, I'll be really upset.
You can buy one in Celadon.
Alright, we're gonna pick him actually, because then we can get a Thunderstone.
Yeah. Name it Jimby, in honor of Drew.
Okay. Alright, now I'm robbing this place.
Better not get greedy, even though they killed Drew. Go to the Pokemon Center.
Hold on. Let me say a few words. Drew.
Mr. Brown.
Drew, we met you at level 2.
He was our second Pokemon.
You've been with us from the start, and now we lay you down to a much less stressful place.
We caught him in episode 1.
You are now with Juan, where you can join Caleb and
Colin.
Clayton and Colin.
And Mitchell.
And Mitchell.
Juan is just taking all of the ZTV members. Stop!
This game really hurt.
Man, this game really
be hurting me.
I do not remember Leaf Green
really be hurting
previously
me.
just having a difficulty spike. Alright, I have to just fight everyone.
Hey!
And hope for the best.
Come on! That's not fair!
Go back to Murphy and Ice Cream.
That's not fair!
This is unnecessarily cruel.
This is just...
This is cruel and unusual.
I'm gonna Luster Purge, because Ice Beam...
Oh yeah. No, you can't!
I have to! I have to!
You can't just...
I'll take him out in the same way that Drew was taken out.
This is too traumatic for me. I can't look. No. Don't hurt him the way that they hurt him.
It's like, you know how Batman's parents were killed by bats? It's like the same thing here.
Oh, I won't watch. No. No, no.
Flashbacks!
No. Oh, so we're not strong enough. I had a vision of your arrival. I saw your Nidoking get obliterated by the Vaporeon.
She's watching, she's like, ooh.
Alright, Matt. Alright. Guess one Pokemon that she has. You have a 1 in 386.
One Pokemon?
Yeah, guess one Pokemon. I'm gonna say Smeargle.
Smeargle?
Yeah.
I think she has... I think she's gonna have a one of the original starters. Can I guess that?
You have to guess this. You gotta guess specific Pokemon. We're
Charmeleon.
going 1
She's having
in 3.
Charmeleon. She's
Okay.
having Charmeleon. Why? Why?
Luster Purge.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, of course, Rich.
Dude, wait a minute. I think it's over. If we can't two-shot him. Oh! Yeah, that's the game. We just lost the game.
We're fine. We're fine. He's only used Fire Blast.
Yeah,
which he should only have 5 of.
The only other Pokemon we have.
Hold on.
You know.
How many times was that? That was only 4. Can't. Try Ice. Just try Giga Drain. I want to see if... What if we're just misremembering? Okay, Hitmontop has Wonder Guard.
No!
Okay.
Okay, there it is.
That should be his last Fire Blast.
So...
He's gonna be faster than
Hit
us.
17 times.
He's going to be faster than us.
Okay. Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
Should be useful. Oh.
Ooh! Okay. All right. Don't you dare. 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 Don't you dare.
Gym leaders at this
Don't
point
you dare.
should only have
Yes.
1 potion.
Come on. We did it.
Man.
You did it, dude.
I did. I'm gonna look up Articuno's moves.
Everybody gains experience. Everybody gains experience.
This was everyone's victory.
Bruh.
Are you kidding me? Well, she has a psychic type, folks. Remember that time that I was like, what if Sabrina has a psychic type? Oh, also, what was Articuno? 29?
Yeah, 29.
Okay, the next move he learns is at 49. Or 37.
No, come on. That's rude.
What about Mew?
He uses lock on. Okay.
Alright, well, the next move's gonna hit. He is, well, we're higher level. You used his... Am I confused?
True. So true.
Mew's last move is learned at 50.
Okay, well, now his next move's definitely gonna hit because he locked on twice.
Well, he locked on his locked on. He wanted to make sure his lock on would hit. So he used lock on.
But he already used lock.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He
I see
needed
what
to
you're
make
saying.
sure lock on would hit.
All right.
So he used lock on.
All right.
Perfectly legitimate. Non-threatening.
Burn, Deoxys, burn!
Oh, that's why it's doing it.
Oh no! Well, he's dead.
Eliminate.
Hey.
And I think with where we are, I think with where we are on the screen, Dragonair's up there, right? Right?
Technically, yeah, up there.
Eliminate him.
You got him.
Yes! Boom!
Yes!
Yes! That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I used.
Eliminate him.
Die.
Yes! You know, honestly, I don't think.
I thought we just lost the game in that match.
I don't think we would have used Drew during that entire fight. I really don't think we would have.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't have. Cool. Cool. All right, well. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Poke Goofs.
We are 0 for 2.
Yeah, we lost another one, and the next episode we're gonna lose nobody.
Because we're gonna have a stream in between that, and we're gonna train.
Or lose everybody on that stream.
That has been, you know, of the streams we've done, 50% of them have resulted in us losing almost 6 members.
We did have a great purge in the first stream. All right, well, thank you for watching us for episode 2.
Thank you.
If you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, any advice on what we should name our next Pokemon, or
how we should not kill any of our Pokemon,
any soft, somber words for our lost boys, Mitchell and Drew, feel free to tweet us at ZTV Goofing Off using the hashtag PokeGoofs. My name is Matt Reed.
I am Kyle Glockner, alive for now.
And yeah, we'll see you next time.
You know what? When I hosted After Hours, we did like a lot of improvised hosting. Could we like try to do that?
I mean, it doesn't sound like my favorite thing in the world, but okay. Stay with us because we'll be
right back.
If you like what you see here on Goofing Off, be sure to like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
You're watching ZTV.
Alright, Cameron's segment is up next, Caleb. He's talking about the adventure module Descent into Avernus.
A furnace?
No, Caleb, Avernus.
Is it running?
Here's Cameron up next on Dungeon Delvers.
Hello everyone, my name's Cameron Blenton and welcome to Dungeon Delvers. For as long as Dungeons & Dragons have been around, there have been demons and devils. And with devils come devil contracts. But what the contracts entailed and what each devil can actually do was never really elaborated on. We had a bit of an idea with the adventure module Waterdeep Dragon Heist, but that was a contract with Asmodeus himself, and his power is pretty much unrivaled, so that didn't give us a real idea of what the common imp or even a pit fiend can do. That is, until the newest adventure module, Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. In this adventure, players start out in Baldur's Gate, as the title says, but soon find themselves in the first layer of hell, Avernus. The overarching story is the players are attempting to save the town of Eturiel. It has been teleported into the first layer of hell and is slowly sinking into the river Styx. If the players fail to save it, all the inhabitants of the town will turn to devils. While searching for a way to save the town from this terrible fate, the party will run into a Holophant named Lulu. She wants to save the town, beat up all sorts of bad guys, regain her memories, and save her best friend. Her best friend being Zariel, the current Archduke of Avernus. This is no easy task since Asmodeus himself turned Zariel into a devil, and she spends her time fighting demons and making contracts with mortals. Lulu tells the party of the Sword of Zariel, a sword that a sliver of Zariel's celestial spark is in. If she were to accept it, she'll return to her angelic form and save the town. And that's pretty much the story of the book. So let's go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. With the good, there was so much to talk about. This book goes deep into the inner workings of the infernal contracts and how players can find themselves signing one and what that would entail. For example, it actually goes into the devil hierarchy and what each one can do in the contracts. This story also has a ton of replay value, giving the players plenty of options on where to go and what to do. So much so that no two games will be the same once the players enter hell. This story can really push the morals of the players and what their characters consider a lesser or greater evil. Or if they really want to try and stay as good as possible, they will have to push the boundaries on what it really means to have a good alignment. Additionally, one of my favorite characters from Critical Role is hanging out in Avernus, Arkin the Cruel. So it's pretty nice to be able to run into him and possibly fight him if all things go wrong, or fight with him if only a few things go wrong. Another nice part is travel, depending on if you have a kind DM, that is. Avernus has a habit of changing its distance by either stretching or contracting. So a 2-day trip can be done in 1 hour, but if your DM is secretly evil, they can make that 1 hour trip into 1 month. They also talk about infernal war machines, which are a nice temporary treat to give to your players while they explore Avernus. And finally, my favorite part about this book is the Sword of Zariel. as of recording, is currently the most powerful magic item Wizards of the Coast has ever created. To avoid spoilers, I will say that it's incredibly impressive, and it's understandable why it's so close to the ending of the story. And now for the bad. There really isn't much to cover. This is a very solid book. The only complaint I ever heard about this is that depending on what branch of path you choose, you'll either have only combat or only social encounters. Some players like that hack and slash playstyle, while others love talking things out and working to avoid combat. So, Dungeon Masters, make sure you know your player's playstyle and try to lean them in that direction. Because if they are on the social side of things and decide to cause problems and fight things randomly, they'll be a quick game over. Now for the ugly. Honestly, the only ugly thing is that Zariel doesn't look like how she did in Mordecanian's Tome of Foes. And I think that is a bit of an inconsistency, but who am I to complain? Overall, I highly recommend trying this adventure out either as a player or a Dungeon Master. This campaign is for players starting out level 1 and ending at level 14. But let me know what you guys think of this campaign. What interesting stories happened while going through it? Let me know by tweeting me at ZTV Goofing Off, and be sure to use that all-important hashtag, Dungeon Delvers. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Becca, do you know what's epic?
What?
Any guesses?
Like, just say something epic?
Yeah.
Drew.
Yes.
Wait, was that the intro?
Here's Alex with the review of Wii Ventures Epic Mickey.
Oh, Epic Mickey. Got it. Okay.
Hello, my name is Ella Kitchen, and I'm back with another episode of Wii Ventures. Before I go into the next game, I would like to introduce what this segment is all about. In every episode, I will talk about a game that involves you to play as a character or two, while you're going on a quest or a journey to achieve some type of goal, whether that means to play through different areas, conquer evil, or just have fun. The next game that I will be talking about is Epic Mickey, which is a single-player game that involves a nunchuck and good old motion controls, and a sensor bar. Mickey gets himself into trouble when he travels through his magic mirror that leads straight to Master Yen Sid's chambers as he secretly walks up to the chair and makes little paint creations of his own. Since Mickey wasn't careful, he had caused trouble. The creation that Yen Sid made was now a ravaged wasteland. Several months have passed since the incident had occurred. The blot had gotten more and more powerful ever since. It grabbed Mickey out of his bed and into the disordered wasteland that Mickey had created, taking the brush with him. The introduction to this game gives a pretty good suspense to what a small mistake can do to a whole other world. Who would think that the main hero of a story would be the one who is responsible for creating the main antagonist? It gives off a very interesting twist to the whole story. Later in the game, you will take projectors that will teleport you through the different areas across Wasteland, such as Slalom, Main Street, Oztown, Mickey Junk Mountain, Tomorrowland, Ventureland, and Bog Easy. Each of these areas gives you a series of tasks to complete. Sometimes you will be given choices throughout the game. These will impact what items you will receive, or what happens after you make that decision, such as choosing tickets over the safety of a gremlin. With all of this brought together, I love how the developers of this game have used their creativity to make something interesting. They also take a whole bunch of old-fashioned material and make them both nostalgic and timeless at the same time. If you are observant enough, you can find special collectibles such as drawings to add to your collection. They will be very useful later on, so keep that in mind. Sometimes you can meet new characters and help them out along their journey. Or you could earn special titles or pins. These are different types of pins that you can earn. The two most common pins would be the basic pins like bronze, silver, and gold, or pins that signify something that you did to help someone or get recognized for, like an achievement. There were tons of long-forgotten characters that were very well introduced to the Disney fans, like Caribou Cow and Horace Horsecollar. One of my favorite things to do in this game is to battle against all the game's bosses. There are two ways to win a fight against each one, and depending on what you choose will determine which canister to increase. You can either defeat a boss by splashing them down with thinner, causing them to increase in maximum thinner capacity, or you could redeem them by spraying them down with paint and making them friendly again. This will cause your maximum capacity in paint to increase. I know this might seem like a lot and very little at the same time, but I thought I'd share a little bit of something that was out of the extraordinary, a game that makes you think, lets you make decisions for yourself. It's colorful, it's fun, and challenging all at the same time. Whenever I play this game, I always feel like I'm taking a blast to the past, or an adventure through a world that was frozen in time. It is a very fun game to play over and over again. There is much more to this game than what I talked about. I wanted to give a brief introduction and talk about what happens towards the beginning, because the rest is up for you to discover. Any other games you'd like me to review next? Tweet me at ZTV Goofing Off with the hashtag WeVentures. That's all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time on We Ventures.
Well, Becca, I think that I've improved a little bit in my new hosting gig. I don't expect to be as good as you or any of my predecessors at that, but I'm happy that I hosted at least a little bit well this semester.
Yeah, you're getting better. You're getting better.
Yeah, I just wish I had a little bit more time to get used to it, you know?
Yeah, what? Buddy, it's episode 2. You have 4 more episodes to go.
What?
Plus a live show.
I need to study.
Well, while he copes with being a bad host, make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for extra content. Until next time, I'm Becca Tyler.
And I'm... what is it?
Caleb Morgan.
Caleb Morgan. See you later. The quarantine has begun.
It's just me and Caleb in here.
Drew, patient 0. My lips, patient 1. Alright, put it in the bloopers.
I love Chowder. If I were to pick a favorite Cartoon Network show, though, it wouldn't be Chowder. I love Chowder. Chowder's bomb.
Right. Can we harmonize?
Epic.
Take it to the Hotel Gaylord at Maryland.
Oh, Sonic. Yeah.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV. Make media, make a difference.